Ladies and gentlemen, the legend himself, Mr. Duncan Rhodes. How are you, sir? Welcome to the Iron Warrior Cosplay Q&A. How are you doing?
That's quite a dramatic intro. I don't think I've ever had such a dramatic intro. I just noticed, actually, looking at myself on screen, there appears to be a bit of a curve.
Stronger. And we want
You
so
see
much
that?
more. So much more.
Look, yes, see that? See that? Yes, see? That's what we need. Diabolical
Nice.
props with the tier 1 subscription for 5 months. Thank you so much. I hope you guys like the new emotes and the new voiceover and stuff for followed subscriptions and all that. You'll be hearing them throughout the stream. They will be there. Also, in the chat as well is all of Duncan's links to his YouTube, Instagram, website. You guys go and follow everything there. Duncan is going to be here for the stream. We're going to be doing about an hour long stream.
Channels clear. Our brothers are picking up the transmission.
Awesome. So here we go. We have also, let's have a quick look here. Thank you so much, Mr. Titan, for the host. Really appreciate it, my dude. Really, really appreciate it. So let's go from here then. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see now. Hello, beauties. A lot of people in chat for you there, Duncan. A lot of people in chat for you. Right. So, as we always do, we have the clipboard, the Ghostbusters clipboard with all the questions. And by the way, everyone in chat, if you are inclined and you would like to sort of ask Duncan or myself any questions at all, please do so.
The War Master has given us a mighty prize indeed.
Let me know, and they'll be in the chat and everything here as
Good
well.
luck with the interview.
So, my first question to you, Mr. Duncan Rhodes, I know we've been chatting for a bit, but there's going to be a lot of double questions and stuff like that. But how did it all start?
Iron Warrior has
joined
our
Did you just
legion.
wake up one day and suddenly think, I'm going to go paint some models? Did you just think?
No, my parents bought me. My parents bought me some Airfix models for Christmas. I suppose.
Airfix, out of everything to start off with, Airfix of all things.
Yeah, it was so because I've always liked making stuff, right? So I always into Lego, things like that, and drawing, whatever. And my parents kind of put these things together, and yeah, for Christmas they, amongst all random things, I was really young. I must have been 6 or 7 or something like that. So it was like a pack where you got there was a helicopter, 2 aeroplanes, and a little selection of paints. And I just had a great time putting these together and painting them with my dad. And I became I just would collect these kits. And, I got older and would start seeing more and more like interesting models and things. And then one day I was in a model shop in a town called Ashby de la Zouch, which is in Derbyshire in the UK. And they have a model shop there. I don't know if it's still there. It'd be interesting to go and find out, actually. But went in there and they had a little Games Workshop kind of display stand with little leaflets and things and a few boxes and stuff. And I was into Star Wars as well at that point, and I was 11. And I saw these leaflets and saw Space Marines, and I thought, man, they look like a combination between Stormtroopers and Darth Vader, both of which I thought were awesome. So I want some of those. Like, what is this? And my dad knew that there was a Games Workshop in Derby. So a week later, he took me around there, and I bought my first box of Space Marines. And
that is absolutely fantastic. We're getting so many people in chat saying, "Oh my god, ditto Airfix circa 1988." Loads of people saying Airfix is where they started. That is absolutely fantastic. Oh my god, that is great. This is so great. Oh, we already have bots in chat as well. That's fantastic. We have some bots in chat. Necrons, as we call them, when the bots come in saying, "Hey, would you like to be famous? And here's a link to become." Like, no, go away. But no, I mean, a lot of people in chat are saying, that it's a lot of Airfix stuff that got them started off before they hit the Warhammer side of things. I'm absolutely loving that. Look, Pinkthorn says Derby, the Games Workshop is where I got partway through starting my Blood Angels army, which is pretty awesome. But awesome. you worked for Games Workshop for what, over 14 years, wasn't it? Was it 14 years or was it?
In total, yeah.
In 14 years in total. 14 years in total.
Yeah, I had 4 years in retail right after I got out of school. And then I had about a year and a half, maybe, kind of break from things where I worked like in the real world, and then I managed to land a job in the studio. And but then it was 10 years of working like at head office.
I love that, just landing a job in the. That's just landing a job at Games
Workshop. Well, it's like any other job where you just like get the thing comes up and you apply for it and you have an interview, and it's just like anything else. But it was for the hobby team, they called it at the time.
Hobby team.
Yeah, the job was to kind of like do hobby stuff to provide content for things. So my part in it was doing White Dwarf stuff. But then there's other people who paint. So for Warhammer Fantasy at the time, you do like back rankers. So Heavy Metal would paint the front 5 miniatures, and you paint all the 15 or so that are behind it. And it's kind of things like that. And the job evolved and changed slightly, but as a part of it, I was often doing painting guides with, like stage by stage kind of things. And so I very naturally, I really liked that. Even in retail, I really liked that teaching aspect of showing people how to, do the different techniques and things and making it accessible. So yeah, it was through that I kind of got the job on TV.
See, I'm loving that. Just because like one of my questions is like what started you off? What started you off sort of doing it before Games Workshop? Like, are you obviously you said Airfix, but when you got your first Warhammer models and stuff like that, did you just think like this is what I want to do? So did you contact Games Workshop and try to get a job with them, or did someone else get you a like how did you get your foot in the door to Games Workshop?
Yeah, well, I was like most people. I had utterly no idea what I wanted to do when I grow up. I don't think anybody really has some lucky few people have good ideas, but most people are just kind of like too focused on, what you're doing day to day. Like you're in school, you're doing your exams and you play video games when you get home. It's like, you don't really think about what I'm going to do when I grow up. I went to a sixth form, and it was a fairly new one. And you get to the point where, like any young people in the chat will realise this, right? When you done a GCSE, you did a GCSEs, you go into sixth form or you go to college or whatever, and then immediately you have to start applying to go to university, and it's a big thing. And I think, and I have no confirmation, but I think because this sixth form was fairly new, they wanted to be able to put in their perspectives, 75% of our students applied to university and got in and stuff. So they were very we had literal lessons every week about applying to university in the first year of being in sixth form, which is really weird when you think about it, because it's like that's surely time you should be studying on the things you're actually going to have exams on. But they suddenly go, what do you want to do for university? And that, of course, is going by extension, what do you want to do for a living? And you don't know. So I was like, well, I like history and I like ancient history and stuff. I'd like to do archaeology. Why not? I like history. Let's do a practical thing. I like making stuff. I like doing stuff. So I applied to do archaeology. So yeah, I actually landed a placement in Winchester University to do archaeology. And then you get out of you finish and you got that placement. It's like, yeah, wicked, I've made it. I've got the exam results I need. I'm going to be able to go to university and do that. And then my friend and I, we were like, wicked, we've got our results. What should we do for the rest of the day? Well, let's go to the cinema. Terminator 3 was on.
Terminator 3.
Yeah. Now, this is one of those periods where again, as you're growing up, you get to a phase where you've got too much going on to really be engaging with a hobby. So whilst I'd still keep tabs on what was going on, I wasn't actively doing stuff. So yeah, I watched it and I was like, it reminds me of the Necrons. I always liked the Necrons. I wonder if they've changed them. So I went on the Games Workshop website, and whilst I'd not been paying attention really, they'd gone from the old dorky-looking kind of janky metal figures to the plastics where they look like now, with a more streamlined, more alien appearance to them. They look amazing. I want some of those. So I went to Games Workshop and I bought a box of Necron Warriors, and it was Chris Peach that sold them to me. And I needed a job. So I was like, have you got any jobs going? He's like, yeah, you seem cheerful. Come back and have a game. So I went back one evening. We had a game. I dug out my old Chaos Space Marines. I had word bearers.
Chaos Space Marines. Chaos.
Yeah, we got on like a house on fire. So we became friends, and I applied for the job and I got it. And there we go. And I was like, this is great. I was having so much fun. I decided not to go to university. I don't think my dad was very impressed with that decision, but it was like, write a letter to the university so as not to upset them. I'm having a year break. And I just really enjoyed working at Workshop, and I just moved up to full time there and kind of just carried on. So it's like you don't know what you're going to end up doing. You don't know how things are going to work out.
I think that's awesome, though. Just went for a game, took your word bearers with you, had a game. You got any jobs going? Yeah, sure.
And just like everything just led to another, and it's just so surreal. 12-year-old me would be terrified if you found out what was going to happen.
Also, thank you so much to Mayhem's Muse for the resub at tier 1. She says more sax support. I don't know whether you know, but I did. I take it you've seen the Ultra Smurf on top of a Land Raider with the saxophone playing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I made myself a foam saxophone and did the same thing, but in my Iron Warrior, and it became a bit of an internet meme, and it's been going around. It's got a hell of a lot of views and stuff. But honestly, it's absolutely insane. Also, thank you so much to Winstron82 for the follow, and also Godan for the 25. Dude, thank you so much. Godan with £25. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Good luck with the interview. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I have been a little bit nervous, and I barely get that nervous, but I have been quite nervous for this one because it's been, it's such a... oh yeah, and then David Roth in the chat with his tinfoil saxophone. He took some cardboard boxes and wrapped them in tinfoil and did the same thing. Honestly, it is insane. But when you did start, for Games Workshop, obviously you didn't immediately jump into doing YouTube videos and stuff like that. Did you have to do the basics first, sort of just like, just sell models or anything like that? Did you have to... What was like the main drive as soon as you got there? It was like, well, obviously you got to work your way up the ladder.
You mean that in retail, when you join retail?
Yeah, sort of like the main retail type thing. Like, when you...
Well, the company was kind of... Whilst I was in retail, so I was there for 4 years, and during that time there was quite a bit of transformation because I joined shortly before the Return of the King film came out. And at the time, Lord of the Rings was like the big thing, and everyone loved it. And those products would just fly off the shelves. So you didn't really have to try and sell anything. It's just people would come in and buy the stuff. So all of a sudden, in the workshop, they talk about it as the bubble bursting, when all of a sudden, like, people just move on from Lord of the Rings, and all the staff aren't actively trying to sell stuff anymore. So all of a sudden, the profits went right down. So I was there in the transition period where they started training more on sales. And it's not done in like a cold calculating, I just want to make money out of you kind of way.
No, that's understandable. That's understandable.
So, there is some training in that, but I always sucked as a salesman. I just wanted to show people how to enjoy their toys. So I was great being like, doing intro games or, the painting lessons. And we'd have these courses like on Sundays, we'd have set like classes almost of teaching people how to paint and how to play and all this sort of stuff. So I excelled at that kind of thing. I really enjoyed that sort of thing. But yeah, I was hopeless when it came to like selling stuff. And a different manager had a different attitude. So, there was a manager who was much more into, the what do they call it? Drive up the sale,
Oh yeah, sort of like upselling kind of thing, like trying to sell
upselling,
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Into that kind of thing. I just sucked at that sort of stuff, so I didn't really do it.
But there's always been that kind of joke where it's like you walk into a Games Workshop and you're being practically humped by the manager, being like, "You should buy this." It's just like, please no.
Yeah, I don't think you need to be like that. I mean, we had a real nice community there, and I always really liked when it got to like Christmas and you had parents coming in, with the list to get for their kids. And I used to like being rather than, why don't you buy all this extra stuff instead? It's like, you have a sit down, have a cup of tea, and we had the kettle there and everything. We had like a pack of biscuits. It's like, there you go. You just chill out for a little bit. Right, so the list is this lot. Okay, so I'll just get all those things. This is what it is. Comes to this much money. If he's collecting this army, I'd recommend like maybe changing this, and you want to surprise him with a few things. You could always do that, but it's your call. And that was always really nice, and it felt very wholesome. Especially when you then saw them coming in after Christmas with all their toys, and they built them up, and they wanted to know how to paint them, and you got to, share that experience with them. So that sort of stuff was my favorite part of working in retail.
Because did you do that, obviously, back when you were doing it? Did you do the thing where you had the little painting table and you'd show people how to paint a model, or they would paint a model for free and they get to take that model home kind of thing? Yeah,
absolutely.
That's not like a new thing, obviously, because I've not been playing Warhammer as long as people think I have. Like, I've been playing Warhammer for a while, but obviously not as long as some people. They've been like, oh, I've been collecting them back when they were made of lead. It's like...
Well, when I did start, the models were still lead. Very briefly. I actually, so the first year I was into it, my birthday came around, and it just coincided with the time when they did the grand lead sale, which some people will talk about, in hushed whispers. But all the metal miniatures, they suddenly started selling at half price to get all the stock out so they could replace them with pewter versions. So my dad went in, and my sister was with him. I wasn't, because this was for my birthday, but my sister was with him at the time. And apparently he just went crazy buying this stuff. And I remember for my birthday, I got this box of like one of those mail order boxes that's the size of the Indomitus box set, for example. And it was just full of blister packs of all kinds of stuff, including the Metal Dreadnought, which was my favorite model ever. And yeah,
the Metal Dreadnought. I only know 3 people who have those. I only know 3 people who have a Metal Dreadnought, and they weigh half a ton. They're the kind of one, it's like, if you had the tabletop game and you had the dreadnought there, and you'd be like, should I kill his dreadnought? Because if he gets angry, he could literally kill me and just throw it at him, just knock you out. By the way, things are going mad here. By the way, I do apologize. Extra Cosplay with the has gifted a tier 1 sub to Merlin Models. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Also,
sorry to interrupt, but I was in Exeter the other week. Lovely place.
You were next to the other week. Oh my God, Dave is going to be so annoyed because he lives in Exeter. He's going to be like, oh no, he was here. I could have said hi. Let's have a look here now. Apparently the alert audio is doubling, but I'm not sure why, because I've got my earpiece in instead of it doubling through the speakers, so I'm not sure why that's happening. I do apologize if it is doubling up for anyone, but it's the only way I can hear them as well. And normally it doesn't double up, but it's the way it is right now. I do apologize. I'll fix it. I've been working so hard at this layout, like something was bound to go wrong. We have a question from B Cosplay, who's a very good friend of mine. B Cosplay, by the way, was literally Terry from Australia, the very first person on the Iron Warrior Cosplay Q&A. The chap I was telling you about, like the first Q&A I had was with Terry from B Cosplay. He says, I have a question for Duncan. Has he ever considered painting a full-scale Space Marine?
No, but you have reminded me. I did, when I was in school, I managed to make a Terminator helmet out of cardboard.
A Terminator helmet from cardboard. That's
the way. I forgot about this. I can't quite remember how I managed to do the thing, but I made a Terminator helmet out of cardboard. It was painted in my Void Knight color scheme. So this is back when they were called Imperial Skulls. They've been through a few changes. And it had one of the old Games Workshop hexagonal paint pots, which I kind of cut a target thing in to make a bionic eye on one side. I'd forgotten about that completely.
Are you going to go? I love that a memory has come back. Are you going to go try and find that now, or do you think it's gone?
Oh no, it's long gone. That thing's long gone. I'm looking at the first Space Marine model I've got that appears on our stuff every now and then, where it's all like blobbed tons of paint. That's the only thing I've got left over from back when I was 11, when I first got into the hobby. Because I remember selling a load of my stuff, and I kept that model because I was like, that's the first thing I did, so I kind of feel I should keep it, just as well as I did, because it's become such a powerful tool in what I do for a living, I guess.
I mean, if you ever could, would you ever buy that model again? Like go on eBay and like buy that model again, and then paint it to your standard now, and sort of have a comparison?
It'd be interesting to do so, because I paint some Primaris Marines in the same way. I'd be tempted if you folks must be aware of Old Hammer, right, as a weird subset.
Oh yeah, no, Old Hammer is a thing. Like I chat to so many people about Old Hammer. Don't get me wrong.
I find it incredible. It fascinates me that wargaming's got to such a point where you have little subset bits like this, and I find Old Hammer to be just like a beautiful manifestation of the hobby. And part of me wonders, I'd love to do an Old Hammer Space Marine Army 2nd edition with stuff from then.
Oh yes, that would be.
We did a painting video on it where we painted the Blood Angel in the style of the time. But I do think if I was to paint an Old Hammer army, would I do it Blood Angel, like I always liked at the time, or would I do it as my own chapter? Yeah, as it was. I think that'd be an interesting thing to do. All the hazards.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be quite interesting to find. I'm not gonna lie, that I would love to see. That should be something you should do at some point, honestly, because I've seen some people go online and buy much older models, but then they throw them in petrol or something, and then they'll clean off all the old paint, and then they repaint them themselves. But it is interesting seeing all the parts. Like someone mentioned in chat, I watched a YouTube video of a chap with a full metal Thunderhawk.
Yes.
Remember that full metal Thunderhawk? When I was watching this guy, I was just like, that thing is that. I mean, that should be illegal to carry as a that thing should be a weapon. It was ridiculous how mad it was. Thank you so much, Mayhem's Muse, the gifted one tier 1 sub to Harry there, and a different Harry. Don't worry, Harry, that's another Harry. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mayhem's Muse. I really, really appreciate it. We have more questions here from the chat for you. My friend Steph Sketches. May I comment on the beard being particularly stylish today? Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Rock, Paper, Bolt Gun. I'd really love to know more about the production of the painting guide videos, the setup and the preparations, some behind the scenes info, please. Or if there's any NDA you couldn't share that. there are a few things we've discussed pre-stream being like, I can't talk about that. just in case. But no.
I suppose would that be Games Workshop's one or how we do it now? Because they are a little bit different. Ours is
I
like
think I'd say Games Workshop first, but then I'd love to know your Painting Academy one as well, because you have changed. I've watched some of the videos that you have posted on YouTube from the Painting Academy, and it is interesting to see how sort of almost quite the same, but then also quite a lot different as well in some aspects as well. I think the one I watched, which I really enjoyed, was the one where you built a train out of parts. You just took parts and built a train. I thought I was like, that's pretty badass. You built a train. Like I'm a train guy. I do love trains. But no, I'd say with that question, start with Games Workshop first. Like how did it sort of?
Well, I mean, I've not been there for a year and a half now, so they've probably changed the way they do a load of stuff. But I mean, way back when it started, it was all Roger's idea, and what he wanted to do was to create a kind of like a friendly, welcoming face to it, so where it would feel like you've got someone sat with you showing it, showing all the way through. So all the camera shots are sort of designed with that principle in mind, as well as showing the thing, the star of the show being the miniature and how you're actually doing things. So all the palette shots and all that sort of stuff, they're all designed with a very specific purpose in mind to create a narrative to lead you through the story of painting the miniature and how it's done. So that format is like a pretty, it's specifically done for the kind of way that we paint the miniatures. But the actual general idea of it isn't something that's particularly new when you're showing those kind of things. Like if you've ever, like when I was younger, there was a TV show called Smart, which was about doing art.
Yeah,
stuff, right?
I remember Smart. That's with.
You watch the way they do that.
Yeah, I remember Smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
If you watch the way they do that sort of stuff, it's very much like that kind of thing where you have the presenter as like actually a person with a personality telling you about the stuff, but really what the focus is what they're doing with the thing, and all the shots designed about showing you the thing. So like the person is the conduit to learn what you want to learn, right? So it's the same sort of kind of thing. The general way that we did it early on was that Roger would be editing the previous video whilst I was preparing the content for the next one. So we kind of would overlap. So then we'd film it together. He'd then take the footage to edit it, and I'd then be starting to work on the next one. And so I'd have.
How many videos would you do? Would you do in one session? Would you do 2 or 3 videos before?
Oh no, just one video.
You would just do one a day. You would just do one per. You didn't do like 2 or 3 different tutorials and then carry them on and edit them and stuff.
It takes a while to shoot them because I mean, early days it's just us doing it, and I was having to be trained to do it. And it's a bit like driving a car, right? There's numerous things you got to kind of like bear in mind beyond just like showing the painting. So you've got to give the editor footage that they can use. So you've got to kind of like have in the back of your mind what each shot's doing and what it's for, and give them options. So like the way you hold things, the way you move things, the way you talk to things, like as you're getting the paint ready and stuff, occasionally I'll be talking to camera, but I'm doing it in such a way that I know my hand isn't getting in the way of other shots because I'm trained to be aware of what shots are there. But I'm also giving him the option of like looking at my face as I'm talking about things. So if I'm making a point about something, if the camera cuts from the palette to me talking to it, it emphasizes the point. But at the same time, I'm making sure I'm not doing the thing that you have to see. So I'm kind of like, he could just watch the palette and I'm still doing something, but it's not the critical thing. I'm more setting up to do the critical thing than doing it. So it's kind of like...
I see where you're coming from there. The amount of times I've been on stream painting a proper something with like the top-down camera, but I've moved it closer to me to get to where I need to paint or whatever, but no one can see it. Like Ranger of Krieg was doing it today, but he pulled the model towards him to paint something small and realized it wasn't on camera. He was like, "Oh, damn!" and bring it back onto the camera. So you got to sort of.
There's lots of stuff like that, and so it's just evolved over the years, really. I mean, and Roger and I have got faster and more efficient at doing it. So with the Academy now, we've changed a lot of the shots and how things are done so that we could basically keep it within budget for when we were starting off. But also so we could start honing things. So Roger's now got a much more powerful camera than he used to. And he's able to do more clever things with how he picks out the shot for it. We have a camera that's focused purely on the palette, so it's no longer like got all this dead space in the camera. It's now much more focused about the information that we want to convey. So it's sort of honed, and the technology we've got now and the way that we then take the footage and process it together, we've sped up how we do that and changed the way in which we do it. So there's a lot of learning to do when we set up our way now, but because we're kind of free of all the old equipment, we're able to sort of review and refresh everything. So we're now very efficient. It used to be that we do paint like a Blood Angel spaceman, right? It would take us about 3 days to shoot it and then 2 days to edit it together to make the one video.
Wow, that's longer than I thought it would have been.
I know, it's because of we have to do lots of rehearsals and things, but we also had other responsibilities there of like meetings we had to go to, and I would have to do more research to get the information for what we were about to do, especially for an unreleased product. Nowadays, because we're so well practiced on it, we'll shoot a whole video in a day, and then Roger will edit that footage whilst we're shooting the next one. So we can, depending on the complexity of the model, we can do like 3 videos in a week.
That's not bad.
It does get quite tiring doing that, though.
Oh,
You've got to be.
Yeah, no, of course.
But yes, but we're quite proud of how we've managed to become much more efficient on it now.
No, I can imagine how tiring that could get, especially with like making videos and stuff. Like even streaming. I like stream for 1 or 2 hours, and then when you're finished, you're just kind of like, oh, and and you're just like, I was just sat down talking. How am I this tired? It's just,
what you're thinking. It's
that's the
like,
thing. You just
like driving a car.
We have a question here from Matt Callow from the chat. I'm going to be jumping back to the chat to the questions on Sheets as well, because we are limited on time. Is there anything you particularly want to do with the way you make videos that you aren't able to do yet?
Yes, I'd like to be able to do live streams in the kind of format that we've got.
That would be so cool to see.
It would be
so cool to see.
Quite a challenge. Yeah, it'd be quite a challenging thing to do, but I think it'd be very exciting to see. So that's something that we want to do.
That would be pretty cool.
If you want a kind of taster of that, in the academy, one of the videos we've got is doing non-metallic metal and silver, and there's actually very long shots where I do the whole thing in real time. So I imagine it'd be sort of like that.
But then again, if people are watching a live video, they know it's not going to be chopped and cut together properly like, a painting video. Like, when you were doing the Games Workshop ones, the swipe would go down and go, and then it would be like, and now that that's dry, we can, this time you'd have to do it, you'd have to put it to one side and then get another one and wait for that to dry while you do. So it would be a real-time thing. And I'm not going to lie, I think there'd be a lot of people who'd be interested in that. I know there's a few people in chat saying that they would like that and they would tune into that, which is quite cool. Also, speaking of videos and stuff like that, I have got some, as I said, I've got some images I'm going to put up on screen as well. But before I ask you the question, when you were obviously doing your model painting and stuff like that, I know that you have to thin your paints and you have to do 2 thin coats and all that. But when did that start? Because obviously we have got like the tutorial videos, for example, that you did with thinning your paints, and I've just put a picture of yourself up there on Warhammer TV saying thinning your paints. Like how do you do that? Was that something that got asked of you? Like were you like, I need to teach people how to thin their paints because I'm seeing these models that are just like globbed on, or was it just?
No, it's just what you do, and so things are only obvious when you know the answer, right? So if no one, like we were talking about before we went on, actually, if no one ever tells you to like why you use a palette and explains the point of like why you thin the paint down and what the difference is if you do and you don't, then why would you ever think to do it? You're just going to look at the models on the boxes and stuff and think that's incredible. I have no idea how they've done that. I've got my paint, I'm going to do this. It doesn't look the same thing. Like no one's going to explain to you the nuances of how to do it. So when we started doing these videos, I mean, I remember when I got when the boss at the time, when he brought me to the office and offered me the job, I did have a condition that I was going to be honest with all the videos and explaining how to do things, because I'd seen words before at Games Workshop where the painter would be concerned about painting a model they wouldn't consider like looking as good as it should do, and so the final stage of the guide would be a bit of a lie because there'd be a bit more in it than they'd said. And I was kind of like, well, I don't want to go and put my face out to the world and start lying about what I'm doing, so I'm going to be honest. And
absolutely,
and if halfway through the model looks like a mess, I want it to look like a mess because I want to see people I want them to understand that that is what it should look like. So when they're doing it and theirs looks like a mess, they're okay because it's they can see it progress and
like you start off from what it is and go forward. Obviously, I copied one of your tutorial videos, quite you know, I went back and watched it several times while doing what I was doing, and that's obviously your hazard stripe tutorial video.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I had some Chaos Space Marines that I did some hazard stripes.
The
and stuff on
fourth
that I very
legion's
much,
number grows stronger.
It's I think it's like quite an important part of it. So the sayings just sort of came out from that, because like apply soothing coats is just what you do. So it was never an intentional thing to become a meme or a quote or anything like that. Same with like the whole this like slightly surreal fame in Warhammer that comes along with where my life. None of it was intended. None of it was like what I wanted from it. I just wanted people to be able to enjoy playing their miniatures. And yeah, so as part of that, I tell them these things, and I suppose it's like the best sort of catchphrases are these things that organically come out of things. You know, like I suppose yippee-ki-yays, I think that comes to mind. You know what I mean? So it's like in the thing, it's like, yeah, and then people go, that was cool, and so it just sticks. So I mean, I know that people might try and cultivate their own catchphrase and try and put it forward, but I think people pick up if it's not like a genuine thing.
I was quite happy in the fact that obviously, you know, the amount of people who messaged me pre-stream or like the days leading up after I did the announcement, being like, "Hope you're going to wear 2 thin coats." Like, oh, for fuck's sake! And just like that, because it's a great meme. And I remember asking you when we met in person at Warhammer World. I was just kind of like, sorry, at Warhammer Fest, sorry. And I was just kind of like, "What are your thoughts on the memes?" And you was like, "They're funny. They're just memes or whatever." But not long after, we were upstairs, and I was there for the birth of one of the pictures that then became a meme online, which was the one of you quite horrifically looking at the banner that was there with "and finally one thick coat," and you're like, you're just like, and I was behind the guy who took the picture, and I was just like, I was there for the birth of a meme. It's just like,
I swear they must have put me in front of that thing on purpose. I swear they did.
Absolutely. They knew. They were just like, you know, he's a meme, right? So yeah. He's like, you know, the 2 think we need to put him here. They knew. They're not fools. They're not fools. They absolutely knew. But along with that, now obviously, I do have to ask. There's so many fantastic questions here that I got from my moderators as well. But while at Games Workshop, was there a particular project that you were like, this is like my favorite project, this is the best thing I've ever worked on, is the one that you truly enjoyed the most? Was there a project that you worked on specifically?
I suppose I could say that the TV thing in general, I really felt like when it was terrifying at first, but when it took off, it really felt like we were making a difference. When we started seeing people saying, we were getting messages from store managers saying that they have a regular who was always scared of buying like the thing that they really liked, and they'd been looking at the Imperial Knights and loving them, but were too scared of messing it up. So the model's like £85.
Yeah,
and
they are
video
monsters of.
They watch the video, they go, I can do that. They then come in, they buy one, and then they come back the week after with a model that looks fantastic, and they're like, I can do this. Like that really felt like something special to me, something to I think I'll always do.
If I'm right, you did do obviously the night painting tutorial, but correct me if I'm wrong. The amount of research I have done, I'm trying to remember, is you did the night building video as well, did you? Did you do it? Yeah, you did a video where you actually built it and put it together to show people how to do it. I remember that one because, I have, as many of you know, I have 4 Imperial Knights, and watching you like, you know, scrape and build and actually glue and put them together, it was kind of nice to see, you know, being like almost a step-by-step guide of this is how you build one, which was super like amazing especially for people I know, a lot of people out there who have no idea how to put one together. Even when they follow the instructions, they get confused. Or like I've seen some of the instructions where I'm just like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh, that goes to there, and it's like a grey arrow going diagonally to something. I'm like, how does that? And it can get confusing. Not for everyone, obviously, but you know, the tutorial videos obviously went from obviously more for painting and then the building side of things. But you also, as we were discussing before stream as well, did that reveal video where you're talking about painting a model and then the camera pans away and it's not your arm.
Yeah, it's Peach.
It's Peach. And you had Peach next to you. And it's when you both decided, then the video started going to you and him sort of doing the videos sort of on and off. Was the demand for the videos that high that you needed to get somebody else on, or was it going to happen anyway? Was he going to be someone...
No, they wanted to. So this was after Warhammer Community started, and so they kind of like they did a bit of redesigning as to how things are working. But it got to the point where they wanted to produce more videos, so they wanted to get a second presenter. And like, you know, as I mentioned, I started working with Peach back when I was 18 in retail, so I knew him very well, and he was also in the studio. We'd worked together on numerous things, and I was like, he's again got that that sort of like welcoming persona. He wants to teach things, he wants to explain things and show people how to do things. So like, if you want someone who knows what they're talking about and can do the job, then you might want to check him out. And so he applied for the job like anyone else, but he just fit the role perfectly. And of course, the two of us knew each other very well. So the kind of the banter, I suppose, that they then started showing is just like how the two of us were anyway. So it was, just sort of like a natural fit, really.
I like that. And if I'm right in saying, and my moderators can vouch, well, Nate the Chill Valhallen, sorry, my moderator can vouch for this one because he was on the call with me. I got to like 700 videos, and I was just like, I'm going to stop counting now. So I'm just going to say over 1,000. You've done much more than over 1,000 videos. Must have. Like I gave up counting. I was going through YouTube being like.
I don't know how many be a workshop. I suppose with all the tip of the days, it must be
plus the tip of the days.
I know in the Academy website now we've got about 150, which is quite a thing we're proud of. So,
no, you should be. And also, by the way, a year and a half that they've been open with the Painting Academy, and obviously numbers aside, sort of non-disclosure and all that, thousands. In a year and a half, you have thousands of subscribers currently, don't you?
Yes.
Which is so amazing, considering that it's. I mean, I say only a year and a half. A lot of businesses, like especially things like starting off like subscription services and stuff, a year and a half to have thousands of people is absolutely what an achievement. Genuinely, that is fantastic.
We're very lucky. We've got the members are wonderful. I can't really express how thankful I am that people were willing to support us, because Roger and I were really terrified when we were starting all this up. We didn't know if it would work.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing. Like, I don't blame you. Like, there's so many people I know who've gone into business and they're just like, I have no idea if this is going to work. And then suddenly it booms and it goes off. But some of them I've seen, and sadly, it has stopped and finished and failed. And that is sad to see. But then again, you have to take the risk. And clearly your risk has paid off. I mean, to have thousands of subscribers on your Painting Academy is just the best. By the way, I believe the Duncan's links are in the chat. If you guys want to go and check those out, they are there and available. If you guys go to Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, you guys can subscribe now, I believe. Can still subscribe all the time. You can just jump in and subscribe. Go for it. But obviously, while at Games Workshop, I asked you what your favorite project was, and you said it was Warhammer TV. If I could ask, if you want to answer, what was like your most like? I hated that project. That was not a fun project to be on. Is there any particular project that you were just like, nope? Like we were discussing before, it's like, you obviously had to be quite positive about the models, even though you were like, this was a dog to build and paint. Here, have it. But then if someone asked you about it, you had to be like, that was a lovely model. Yes, it's a beautiful model. I enjoyed painting it. And inside you're like, I never want to paint one of those again.
Well, I think, so it's never a case that the model is a thing that, I never outright hate the miniature. It's when it's done in a work environment, you've got deadlines and things to hit. It makes it puts a lot more pressure on. So that's when the environment kind of changes for things. So I suppose I could say recently more with the Academy, doing Techless was a big challenge, because Techless is a very complex model, and we had to shoot him in 3 days. And so it's like the pressure's on. And it was also very directly, the members are you're paying customers, right? So you've got to give them the content they want. So we have to hit that deadline. So that's where I was glad for that project to be finished, because oh boy, I was like, go all day.
Don't get me wrong. There has been a few commissions and stuff that I've had over the past like couple of years where I've just been like, I just want it to end. I just want to get it done.
But we're very proud of what we do. We don't want to go and waste.
Absolutely not. Like I don't just get the prop done. Like I do take my time, and I am proud of it in the end. But it is just kind of like, I don't think I'll build one of them again kind of job, where it's like, I don't think I'll do that again. But while we're here as well, speaking about models, is while we were chatting pre-stream, you were actually building something while we were chatting. Do you still have it with you? If you're okay to show it, that is obviously.
It is, of course, yeah. This is the killer boss on Nash Tooth. There he is from the new Dominion box.
So spiky, so spiky. I'm loving this. Yeah, it's so spiky.
Very spiky model. Very complex looking too. But the Soviet Dominion's just out. We picked up our set the other week, and we've been working through that. So this week we've had we did the what's his name, the Annihilator, a Stormcast Annihilator in the Hallowed Knights color scheme, and we've done a Gut Ripper from the Cruel Boys as well. So
Gut Ripper.
Members have been asking for Dominion content, so members what they want, that's what they get. So we've been.
So they can request. They can actually request stuff. Oh, that's fantastic. That's a lot of commitment as well to be like, you know, we like the fact that they have input in what you do. That's fantastic. That's awesome.
We encourage our members to. So we've got on a forum. We've got a whole section of the forum that's all about requests, and we've got a staff member who's handles the emails now. And people are welcome to email in, and she basically records all what the requests are and stuff, and we use that to help guide what we do going forward. So if things are popular,
that's awesome.
We're going to do that. So and sometimes they come out with like interesting ideas for things, and so we'll do a video based on that. So we had requests for something from Wild West Exodus, for example. So we did a Wild West Exodus miniature. So
question then. Well, while we're on the subject of Painting Academy, then how much is a subscription to Painting Academy? Is there different tiers? Pardon?
It's $3.99 a month.
Oh wow!
Yeah, which was the lowest we calculated we could make it to hit our target to make ourselves self-sustaining, basically.
That is incredibly cheap. That is incredibly cheap and very affordable for a lot of people. I assume that's probably one of the reasons you have thousands, is because that's something that's reasonable for people to afford, on top of other bills and stuff, obviously. I also want to say thank you so much to Mayhem's Muse in the chat. Mayhem's Muse is trying to get people to subscribe to Keep Me in Shovels. I'm liking that. Gotta keep my shovels. Gotta keep my shovel supply up, you know? We have so many questions from the chat. It is absolutely crazy. Wito Bix, question for Duncan. Does Duncan use/recommend a wet palette?
Yes, I do. I use an Army Painter one. I like that one because it's got a nice little compartment in it to keep your brushes too.
See, an Army Painter wet palette. Actually, speaking of that, Ranger Creek was saying on his stream the other day, I'm not sure when, but he was saying the other day that he needs a wet palette. So, Army Painter. There you go, Harry. Question for Duncan from Doug362. Is there any models current or discontinued you wish you had in your collection but can't have now?
Ooh.
As in, like, can't have being like, you know, you don't have the budget for it, or they're as rare as hen's teeth kind of thing. Like a Full Metal Thunderhawk or something.
Yeah. I suppose I could say Bretonians, but I've got quite a lot of them. When they went on the last chance to buy, I bought a lot of them.
Just buy the lot, just the whole lot. It's like, I'll take your entire stock.
I suppose some of the classic Warhammer Fantasy things, Dogs of War and Kislev, I think. Like the Dogs of War and Army, I always wanted to collect, but never quite got round to doing it. And since they disappeared, they become astronomically expensive. And same with Kislev as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
The wing lancers with the kind of the wings on the back. I was aware of them. I thought they looked pretty cool, but I went to Poland with my girlfriend who's Polish, and we went to a museum in Krakow where it's like the most Soviet building you could ever imagine. This museum. Anyway, you go in, and they've got a section where they have the winged hussars stuff, and Poles are extremely proud of the winged hussars, and like should be as well. If anyone's interested in like crazy things in history, look at the Siege of Vienna. Where the Poles turned up and literally saved Vienna from who was it? Was it the Turks? The city was literally about to fall, and then they unleashed the biggest cavalry charge in history on them and saved the day. It's literally the Riders of Rohan turning up at Minas Tirith in real life, except they had awesome wings on their backs and lancers.
There's
so I was
many people in chat saying winged hussars because from the Sabaton song, when the winged hussars arrived, there's
that's what it's about. It's about
and it is. I have a small moth in here that I have just squished with my hand. That was on stream, by the way. You guys saw that. I was just like, "Wah!" Mr. Miyagi. I just grabbed that thing and killed it. It's been bugging me for a while. I just grabbed it like. There's a death on stream. But honestly, if you could get a set of those, there's a lot of people saying, some people say that they have them as well. If you could get them, you would want to buy them, I guess.
Yeah, I have a few of them. I think it's the regular ones. And then they have the Griffin Legion with the elite ones. So I've got a few of them. But you know what, with the new, the old world with workshop teasers for that. It looks like Kislev are getting some stuff there, so it'll be interesting to see. I would imagine if they come out with Lancers now, it'd be like quite a modernized, reimagined thing. sort of similar at the core of it, but much chunkier. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out from that.
Oh, that's so awesome. This is the best. We have I have a few more. I'm going to read 2 more questions from the chat. I'm going to get back to my questions because I have multiple sheets of questions, and we're limited on time. But Mayhem's Muse, since you've been so active in the chat, what is your favorite army to paint, and why is it Eldar runs and hides? we all know his favorite army is Iron Warriors. Just
Actually, Iron Warriors are really satisfying to paint.
Yes.
We do have a YouTube video with the method that we made with using the contrast paints about painting Iron Warriors. They're really easy to do. They look great. They, so if you want to do Chaos Marines and you want lots quickly, Iron Warriors as you want. I think
cool.
it's a difficult question, that. So I always enjoyed painting my Bretonians back in the day because I like having lots of colours. So I enjoyed the individual knight heraldry, Imperial Knights, obviously, because of similar things. I always like painting heraldic patterns. I really enjoy painting my Napoleonic French army and the history, and a large
because you do
uniforms of the cross belts, pom-poms,
do reenactment, don't you? If I'm right in saying, and I have a special treat for everyone on stream. I one of those questions is right. I've got that here, but since we're bringing it up now, I just thought I would just show you guys. There is Duncan, the absolute legend himself, that's a lot of them. That's an amazing kit that you've got on there. That is genuinely like from a cosplayer. It's insane how precise and it's so cool. Like, so yeah, there you go. People in chat are saying so cool. It really is. Like, it really, really is. Seriously, it is absolutely fantastic. By the way, we have so many people in chat. For those of you who've just joined us, by the way, I am Iron Warrior Cosplay for anyone who's there, and also my guest tonight is Duncan Rhodes for anyone who doesn't know him. I don't know who would not know him, but those are for anyone who is in chat who has just arrived. But yeah, your reenactment stuff. You said you're going to be going to do it hopefully soon, but depending on time constraints, because obviously Painting Academy does take a lot of your a lot of your time currently as well. But I really hope you can go back and do it, because this Sunday I'm actually going back to doing a convention again, which is amazing because it's been so long. Like, it's been absolutely crazy. Like, it's been beyond, and I've not been able to do it. But now going back to do it, and it's been something I've really wanted to get back and doing. Also, I get to see Ranger of Krieg once again, which is something I've not done since lockdown, which has been madness. If you could go back in time and change any project that you've worked on and do something different with it, what would it be and why?
I suppose that's quite a difficult question, that. I mean, I don't like having regrets about things. So whenever
I like hard-hitting questions. I like
whenever I've got a project, I do my best about it.
Yeah, of course.
There's some things that I like. Oh, I wish that turned out different. I mean, like, I was in one of the meetings for what was going to be the next Bretonian Army book that never came out. So it was interesting to kind of know behind the scenes how that army was going to develop. That didn't happen because the end times happened instead, of course.
Damn.
And I think there was a Tau project I worked on when Commander Farsight came out. And during that, I pushed to do because at that point, my job was to do kind of like a secondary army that would appear in the Codex. So
I got you. For them to fight against kind of thing?
Yeah, so you have like the heavy metal collection, which would be the ochre-coloured Tau at the time.
Yeah.
This is before the white armoured ones appeared. And my job would be to do like a secondary army on some like double page spread to give like different ideas, different schemes. So I do a different sept, for example. And because there was a new model of Commander Farsight, it seemed logical to me to do a Commander Farsight army because we hadn't seen that at that stage. So I was pushing for that. And then they did the resin shoulder plates for Fire Warriors with the Farsight Enclave symbol on. So I was like, we've got to do this. This will be great. But they kind of was then a fear of, but wait a minute, they're all about the greater good, but Commander Farsight's not about the greater good. So that will cause confusion in customers. So we better not do a Farsight army. So what went from like a massive force came down to like a small force, and then more ochre things to bulk out the shot of the ochre army.
To bulk out the photo then. I don't know if my friend Brecken is in chat, but he's a big fan of Tau, big fan of Commander Farsight as well. I don't know if he's in chat, but he would be very, very happy about that. He would be very
It was those models. I ended up doing like 8 battle suits. I was able out of what was going to be a massive army. I only did 8 battle suits, but that then became the 8. So
I mean, it worked out in the end, I guess. So
Now it's all right. But I would love to have done more Farsight stuff. I think that would be cool.
I'm Warrior Cosplay Q&A, asking the tough questions. Yes, indeed, asking the tough questions. Although, like I was saying to Duncan before the stream started, it was notoriously difficult to find any information about this man online. It was so difficult, like so well known, but so evasive at the same time. It was fantastic. But going back to the amount of videos we were saying that you've done. God knows how many now, over 1,000 easily, as you said, plus the daily tip videos and stuff. Your first video released on, I believe, if my research is correct, November 18th, 2013, you did a technical paints, Blood for the Blood God, which I know David Ross can be happy in chat. That was the very first one I could find at the very bottom of the list on the Games Workshop YouTube channel. It's the very first one I could find featuring yourself.
Mm-hmm.
With that, you're going back to 2013, November 18th, 2013. You're going that far back. You've been at Games Workshop for so long. What are your thoughts on that achievement? That's such an achievement. You go back onto YouTube. There are people probably still today using your tutorials to get into, Warhammer and stuff. People who have not even done it. And they're like, oh, there's a great guy on YouTube who does painting tutorials. His name's Duncan. Go check him out. That kind of thing. I bet you there's still people using your older videos today, probably.
Yeah. I think there's kind of like two things from that. I think on one hand, it was like a great achievement in being able to just help people enjoy their hobby, but like on a bigger level. So my career's kind of been following that goal, I say, like to unlock the hobby for people, but it's just kept on getting onto bigger platforms. So I think on one hand, it's been like, as a personal achievement, it was great to be able to do that sort of thing. I think it also was a bit of a turning point in how Games Workshop expresses itself to the outside world, because it certainly at that point had the reputation of being the monolithic entity that didn't care about the customers. It's just like, buy our stuff and go away.
Yeah.
I think the videos, I mean, I was terrified because I was going to be like, at the time, Games Workshop put no names on anything. Even novels, there was no names, and it was only my name. So I thought I'd get directed all of the anger towards Games Workshop. Things like the opposite happened. So I think what it proved was the fact that people just wanted to engage with Games Workshop, and that became like a positive way of doing it. So I think the kind of the community level of what's happened now, I think that first Blood for the Blood God video was kind of like the first point of that kind of thing happening, growing into how it is these days. So yeah, I think that's not what I intended out of any of it. I just came in because Roger thought I'd be good at it.
Well, I mean, he wasn't wrong. I mean, you are. Well, I say you are good at it. Everyone knows that you're good at it. I mean, it's your painting tutorials and build videos and stuff that people go to. I mean, that's what I went to. I know everyone in chat probably did the same. I mean, there are people on YouTube and stuff who do paint tutorials and stuff, but there's just something about one of your videos that's just so. There's something about it. There's something about the way, especially like you said, like the way you speak as well. It's calming, and it's just like, I'm painting this video, and it's filmed so professionally, and it just shows people how to do it. And especially when I was painting my first models way back when, the way you explained how to sort of turn the brush to give it a fine point. Well, I wasn't doing that until I watched your videos, and I was like, oh, and even today now, I still use it on some of the paintbrushes I have. If I'm doing detail work on these big props and stuff, I still use that technique today. So I'm still learning stuff as I go. But it is awesome that your tutorials and stuff are still on their website, and or on their YouTube even, that they can go back and see them again, which is just...
Go back that far,
awesome. There's so many questions in chat. I'm just seeing them popping up here.
We can try rapid firing some if you want to.
Right, okay, here you go then. Chaos Gold, I love the Night Lord painting video. Any plans to show some love to the Emperor's Children or Noise Marines in general?
We've already done them. They're on the website.
They're already done, and they're on the website. They're on your Painting Academy website, correct?
They are indeed, along with the Keeper of Secrets. And we want to do more.
Do you know what? The Chaos Gold said this. I wasn't planning on, but I do a painting stream called The Joy of Chaos, which is like a Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting slash, and all it is a cup of tea, a chat, and people paint stuff and whatever, and I get people on to do painting, whatever. Would you like to join me on a painting stream at some point?
Yeah, sure. Let me know when it is, and I'll see what I can do, and if I can find few minutes.
Yeah, I know, right? It would be like in an evening, and we could just like it could be like an hour or so. We could just paint some models and chat. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Look forward to a Joy of Chaos featuring Duncan Rhodes soon. That is absolutely fantastic. I actually didn't think about that, but that's fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Chaos Gold. Diabolic Props. Would this be the wrong time to ask which paint tastes the best when licking the brush?
Oh,
I've heard lead belcher isn't very good.
no, certainly not Rackar Flesh. Macragge Blue, why not?
Macragge Blue. There you go. Macragge Blue. Mwah, Macragge Blue goes really
Don't
nice.
recommend sticky things.
Goes really nice with a Shiraz. Rock paper bolt gun. Rock paper bolt gun. Duncan, favorite AdMech model? Because I'm not gonna lie, that's my. I have an Adeptus Mechanicus army and a Skitarii army combo. That's what I've currently got, and I'm not gonna lie, I'd love to know this as well.
It's going to be the one of the Cerberus Raiders.
Oh, brilliant!
Oh, his rifle up nice. He's got binoculars.
Yeah, I love those. I would love to build one of those rifles at some point. I'd love to build one of those rifles full scale as well. That'd be so cool.
Skitarii are one of the best rangers in Games Workshop these days.
And then from my moderator, Ranger of Krieg. So Duncan, how good are you at making trenches? Because he makes foam trenches currently for his Krieg models that he has. Because I got him addicted to resin crack, so he's now addicted to resin crack.
I haven't made resin, trenches. I have been doing some scenery recently, though. I've been playing there's again my Modiphius Elder Scrolls, the war game of Elder Scrolls. I've been making little villages of Skyrim for that.
Villages of Skyrim, little huts and stuff. That's so cool.
That's right. Little huts,
I love that. Obviously, we know where are we? Obviously, we know you do reenactment. Obviously, one of the questions I have here is: do you do cosplay, or are you thinking about doing cosplay at all in the future?
I haven't really, to be honest with you. I think I don't think I'd have time to do any of that sort of stuff or to make any of that kind of thing, to be honest with you.
If anything, then, if you were to do it, let's say you did have the time, what would you cosplay as? Something, it doesn't have to be from Warhammer 40k, but if it was from Warhammer 40k, would there be anything in particular you'd be like, I'd love to dress up as that?
If it was going to be 40k,
doesn't have to be a Space Marine, mind you.
If it was 40k, it'd be a Death Corps infantryman, just a regular, normal infantryman.
Yeah, Ranger of Creek's going to be over the moon about that.
If it was anything, it'd be a Bretonnian Knight of the Realm, but I'd want to do it like really properly.
Yes.
So I'd go out my way to buy medieval equipment to do it and customize it to make it Bretonnian. So like all the little shield pendants, loads of those, or all different heraldry. The big.
That would be so cool. That would be so cool. Honestly.
Sword of Fleur-de-Lis on it.
There is a video that I've seen of you with your two mugs there. It was the advertisement for the Games Workshop paint pot, the one with the little cog motif in the middle that you can rest your paintbrush against. And there's one where you reach forward and grab a mug and drink your paint water. How much paint water have you drunk over the years? That's just a joke.
Not very much. Not very much. I've got quite adept now at making sure I don't wash my brush and my tea because I've been drinking.
That's what kind of weirded me out was when they brought out the mugs with the paints on them. It says what, and I was just like, why would you do that? People are gonna do this. It's gonna drink the paint water. I could just see it happening. I could just see it happening. Now, in terms of tabletop, obviously yourself, you played tabletop, of course. What's your favorite game? Like, instead of 40k, 30k, fantasy, is there anything, or even something that isn't Warhammer based or Games Workshop based? It could be something completely, off the cards.
Okay, so it's a few answers here. So controversially, I think the best war game I've played would probably be A Song of Ice and Fire from Cool Mini or not. It's an extremely well-designed game.
Interesting.
So for the modern atmosphere of it feels like you're controlling a large army, but it's got a very dynamic turn system that has a kind of sideboard that represents the politics of the Game of Thrones being played. So the whole thing just comes together as a really well-designed package. So that's, I think, probably what I think is probably the best game system I've played. I do really like Adeptus Titanicus, though. I think that's a lot of fun. I love the narrative that's put inside that. And I really enjoy Elder Scrolls Call to Arms again, because that's basically a role-playing game in wargaming format. That's really
are you like a fan of D&D and stuff like that then, or Rogue Trader?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
play
awesome.
D&D. Yeah, it's
Oh,
been a
awesome.
little while since I've been able to play a game of it, but I'm in a
Yeah,
D&D
of course,
campaign.
of course.
So
I'm not gonna lie. You're running your own business now with thousands of subscribers. You've got to keep on top of that. It's gonna social
um,
life. Where?
a really good board game that if someone's interested in historicals and wanted to find like an easy way into it, there's a series of games called Command and Colors, and they're basically a board game with all the units or wooden blocks, but it's essentially an actual war game on hex tiles, and it's so good that people actually change the wooden blocks for miniatures and make massive battlefields on it. So that's a very good one as well.
Well, I'm loving the I'm loving the sort of the obviously it's Titanicus was one of them obviously, and I'm loving Titanicus, but I like that you went for things that I'm not gonna lie, even some people in chat are quite shocked about, like depending like what your favorite game was, which is pretty awesome. I will say that. When it comes to the I wasn't sure how to put this in because I didn't have this question because I only discovered this the other night, but the Duncan card. You know the card we spoke about? For anyone who doesn't know, this is the Duncan card. The Duncan card says it's an end game stratagem. It's called Duncan's Disappointment. The presence of grey plastic on the battlefield doesn't make Duncan angry with you, just disappointed. Select an enemy unpainted unit. One friendly painted unit may re-roll, fail to roll, failed to rolls hit. And wounds against this unit in this phase. That is. I can't believe that someone made you your own card. I think that's wonderful.
I believe it was the creator of it. He showed it to me at Adepticon the first year I was there. And in a card sleeve, I've still got it at home.
You've still got that card. That's so cool. That is so cool. That is so cool. I'm glad that you've still got it and they gave it to you. That's fantastic. By the way, my chat is blowing up in here with all the questions that are coming through, but I'm going to finish with some of the questions I've got here. What faction do you think personally in Warhammer 40k, or even if anything, Titanicus or anything like what faction do you think could do with an update? Could do with, like, you know, grabbing and really giving a good fluff out and an update. Like I know, for example, my friend Harry in the chat there, Ranger of Krieg, wants Krieg to become obviously a bit more fluff. But then with what Games Workshop have done to Krieg recently and put them into, I think it's Legendary. I think it's called Legendary. I'm not sure what it's called. Harry can correct me. Where, you know, they've added the Krieg into the Astra Militarum side of things instead of having them as their own.
Legends.
Legends.
You should say that. It's probably Imperial Guard. Yeah, the Astra Militarum is probably the one that needs. The Cadians are very old miniatures now, and even with the little extra sprue with the extra heads, it's nice, but it'd be cool to see like a full from the ground up redesign, like maybe a new regiment entirely, or something we've not seen before. I think that'd be cool. I always thought the Vostrians were the most guard of the guard because of the weird archaic appearance to them. I think it'd be cool to see like a full plastic range of things sort of like that. Alternatively, it'd be nice. It'd just be cool to see like Deathcore Krieg turn into plastic. I think that'd be great because
I think a lot of people have been saying that, including Chapter Master Valrak was talking about it on his stream not long ago, saying like how Krieg should, plastic Krieg would be cool.
I mean, they're extremely expensive, and yet people like throw money at these things because the models are just so good. They're almost timeless. And I mean, I know the management's changed since then, but I know like a long time ago some of the seniors thought they looked too historical, and so that's why they just remained as a Forge World thing. I don't know if they'd agree with that now, because it's been quite a while since I heard that. But I do know that they were like, until Heresy came along, they were like Forge World, one of their top selling things. And Forge World these days doesn't generally do like 40k and Age of Sigmar stuff. They do their more specialist games, and yet they still sell Krieg, which says to you Krieg sell a lot, which is why they still do them. So I think, just like an updated Imperial Guard, I think would just be really good. I think it'd be really popular.
I think they could do with an update. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I have Imperial Guard stuff, but I don't have like specifically the army. Like I made a Chaos Baneblade, for example. I took a Baneblade and made it chaosy because it's chaos. Chaos is the best. That's just my opinion, because they're spiky and awesome and interesting, and this is cool.
Well, a regular human army is an important thing in these games because what it does is gives you like an understanding as to where we'd be in the context of these things.
Absolutely. There's so many stuff online. There's so much stuff online. People being like, I'd love to be in the world of Harry Potter. I would love to be in the world of this. I'd love to be in the world of that. And then people are like, I'd love to. No, I don't want to. No, not 40k. No, I'd rather just. I'll stay in this side. Thanks.
I think the thing that Age of Sigmar really needs, I think it needs like rather than using the old Empire mages, I think it needs like a proper free guild army so people understand what Stormcast is in relation to everything else.
So really just give that a bulk up. Really give that a bulk up.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that
what
would
do
be
they
really
look
cool to
in the
see.
Age of Sigmar context? So.
That would be awesome. Obviously, we are running out of time here. I'll give you some. I'll give you some more questions. But it's like, where do you think you would have been? Where do you think you'd be now, even if it weren't for the model painting you're doing, if it weren't for the opportunities you've been given? What do you think you'd be doing now if you hadn't have started in Games Workshop? I know that's a bit of a stretched question, but it's sort of because you said obviously beforehand you worked as an admin for
in an office. In
an office, but
when I left retail, I ended up in an office for a company that sold like gas valves and things like that. And I was doing the admin stuff. I probably would have ended up in something like that. I mean, I say I was like most people where I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was just happy, it's something that I don't think they talk to you enough in school about, like what do you want to do, get ideas for it and suggest things. So I really don't know where I would have ended up. I don't know. I really don't know. I probably would have ended up in an office doing something, most likely. I think I would have carried on.
I'm genuinely glad you didn't. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and I'm glad you're doing Painting Academy, and I'm genuinely over the moon that you've been absolutely fantastic enough to jump on. When I did email you, it was kind of a nail-biting moment, and then when you did say, yeah, sure, I'll be on your stream, and when I told the moderators, they were just like, we have to keep the secret for how long? And it's like, this long, and then I'll be announcing it here. But one last question from myself, and I'll ask you one or two from the chat before it hits 1:15. Your most favorite memory of working at Games Workshop? One of your most wholesome memories, like because obviously I know you guys had a lot of fun there. I know that you worked there for over 10 years. You worked there for 14 years in total. But it's just is there a memory that you have from Games Workshop that you genuinely would never forget? Because obviously you worked there for so long, you guys must have become more of a family than anything.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. I mean, so just to quickly go through a few. When I was in retail, you kind of become, you don't mean to, but you often become sort of role models for kids, especially when they're like regulars to the gaming club.
Oh, of course.
One of them once, he kind of like, I won't say any names or anything like that, but basically he came up to me and he said that he thought he was gay. And he was like, I'm a bit confused about this. And I was like, oh, do you think you are? And he's like, I think I am. Wicked. That's who you are. That was quite a weird thing to discover, like someone coming out to you.
The trustworthiness of it.
Yeah. And like they didn't know who to talk to, so they came to the guy that works in the shop. But like they sort of like hammers home to realize that people are actually looking to you as an example for things. And it's like, oh, okay, well, how do you feel about it? We had a little chat about it, in the store and stuff. Just kind of went through it and stuff. But he seemed fine, and he carried on playing his games. Doesn't matter, so you are. Do you still want to paint some Space Marines?
I love that because Mike at the Games Workshop in Carmarthen, my local Games Workshop, a very small Games Workshop, I would go in there and chat to him and like buy paints and buy brushes and buy the occasional model and stuff. And, we built a rapport and a friendship, and to the point where I dressed up as a Ghostbuster because I cosplay as a Ghostbuster. I dressed up as a Ghostbuster to go and do his little one's birthday party for him. Well, and just that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't have just become friends and working there, which is nice that it wasn't just I'm only being nice to you because I'm trying to make my quota. You can go in there with like your Greg sausage roll and sit down at the painting table while he's painting something that's going to go on display, and you can just chat to him. And he doesn't push you to buy anything, and he's just asking you like, are you interested in buying anything today? It's like, nope, he doesn't ask that, he doesn't anything. He's just happy that you're there, and if he knows that if I myself, my friend Brecken, Marcus, or anyone want something, we'll go in and buy it. And that's what's fantastic about it. But when other customers come in that he doesn't know, he's like straight up paint down, straight up, and he goes, oh, hi, how can I help you today? Welcome to Games Workshop kind of thing. And it's fantastic to see that he's built that rapport with so many people that he knows who come in, that he knows for a fact that they will buy something if they want to buy something, and he doesn't have to do his sales pitch with them or speak to them or anything. When other customers come in, he's like, "Oh, got to go over," and he goes over and he does his job, and it's nice to see, and it sort of kind of makes you feel homely. It's like a safe place you can go to.
That's right. Life's about personal relationships, and like I have an enormous amount of respect for Games Workshop staff members because that is a hard job.
That is it's not an easy job. It is not an easy job. Like I've seen him speak to a mother about buying an army for her son, and she was talking about what they looked like, and she was just describing everything. they're like this, and it was like, yeah, they're all like that. Most of them, just except for the bigger ones.
It's a bit of advice I think that anyone should think about is that when you go home at the end of the day, just think to yourself, did I do my best that day? Did I make the most of all the opportunities that came that way? Did I make people happier that way? And if you try and go by those guiding principles, I think you'll feel like a more fulfilled person.
And it's amazing. I've done store birthdays in the Iron Warrior there as well, and it's just nice to sort of have that sense of community there. And it's really nice. I've made a lot of friends there and stuff. We have some few more questions in chat. We have Mayhem's Muse favorite Eldar craft world.
Oh, Ulthway. No, Beltan.
Ooh, Beltan
or Ulthway. One of those two.
50-50. Matt Callow says, favorite non-GW model?
Oh.
That's a tough one, right?
It is a tough one. There's loads of great miniatures out there. I suppose it depends on what mood I'm in. I would... Yeah. All right. So probably just a few fast things. I really like the Elder Scrolls Imperial Legion miniatures. I really like the Perry miniature of Napoleon on a horse. Those are two things that come to mind. I have quite it's sort of very English, I like just, it's a man on a horse,
I like, for example, you said you would be a Krieg if you were, and if anything, that's just like World War II trench warfare kind of, it's still I see what you mean. I see what you mean. And I think a lot of people in chat really like that. Mayhem's Muse liked your answer about the craft world as well.
Oh, I know. Mjolnir, I believe it is. The so it's Elder Scrolls, it's the dragon from Elder Scrolls.
Yes.
Beautiful miniature, and I would encourage if anyone wants to just have a go at painting a monster and a cool dragon, that one is worth every penny. It goes together like a dream, paints it really nicely, it's beautifully balanced, it's fantastic.
There you go, from the man himself. I'm loving that. Favorite Heresy Legion from AMC Gregor.
Sons of Horus.
Sons of Horus. I'm loving that one. Apologies if I read your username out incorrectly. My apologies. Mayhem's Muse, favorite Phoenix Lord. And we have one last question as well before we wrap up. Duncan does have a time set, as he does have to go and do very important things, obviously, for his painting academy and stuff like that.
We can go on a few minutes. It's all right. It's only work.
It's only work. It's only my thousands of followers. I'm playing.
Fugan would be my favourite Phoenix Lord because I like the fire dragons.
Oh, what are they called? From that set, there's you said the fire dragons, but there's another one, isn't there? I forgot what it's called. It'll come to me. Merlin's models. What do you think of the Blackstone Fortress, and what's your favourite mechanic in it?
Of the Blackstone Fort? What, I mean, the game?
Yes.
The game? I'm not sure what you mean by my favourite mechanic in it. In the mechanic in the game system. Okay, so that, I think the dice rolling to see what actions you can do is very clever because it lulls you into a false sense of security at first, thinking that, oh, my guy's basically invincible. And then, one or two lucky hits, and all of a sudden you're crippled, and you realise, actually, this game's quite cruel. It's yeah, you're winning.
It's like a really mean dungeon master or a really mean games master being like, yeah, there you go, boom, now you're crippled. They're like, oh no, I could lose my character.
Exactly. I think it's really funny. You're dragging behind someone who's only got one action a turn. Move.
Honestly, can I just say, for episode 1 of season 4, We Want More Back, to have you of all people on my stream has genuinely been one of the best experiences. Like, I've had so many wonderful people on my streams, and then I just never thought, obviously, when we met you, it was kind of like, oh my God, we get to meet Duncan Rhodes. I never thought then, it's like, oh, cool, I'm going to have him on my stream at some point, because I wasn't streaming then. And it was just it wasn't even in my mind. But to have you on stream and to be able to talk to you and ask you all these questions genuinely means a lot. And I think the amount of viewers that we've had on tonight, I think, has really said that as well. Because wow, we've had a lot of people on. It's been really nice to see a lot of familiar names in chat and a lot of people who have come out to see yourself and obviously me asking you all the questions. The new layout of the stream, by the way, I really hope you guys appreciate it. It was all thanks to you guys for all the bits and subs and donations and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much again for coming. Is there anything else that you guys would like to ask Duncan? Oh, we have one more from Mr. Titan. Question: if you're going to make a cosplay from a Titan, what class Titan would you pick? If you were going to make a War class Titan cosplay, that's specific to Mr. Titan because he is a Titan cosplayer. He cosplays as a Titan. Thank you so much, Chaos Scald, for the 2,000 bits. That's madness. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Seriously, wow, 2,000 bits.
My answer to that would be a Warlord, because I think the Warlord's the coolest looking Titan. And in fact, if anyone's curious about having a go at painting one of the Titans from Adeptus Titanicus, the Warlord Titan is, I think, possibly the best Games Workshop kit, in my rather biased opinion.
You can be biased. You're allowed to be. I'm totally biased towards the Iron Warriors, so it's
it's fine. I often find with these kind of things, I think people get surprised by my biases on things and my opinions on things. But it's lovely being on stuff like this because, it's such a bizarre turn in life ending up like this to the point where I can do what I do. So thank you so much for everybody who's been watching this and engaging and supporting me, I suppose. Because I'm really lucky to be in the position I am, and it always is a shocker that people are, like you're saying, it's exciting to have me on the show. I feel like I'm still just me, and I sometimes struggle to handle the attention that comes my way. But that you guys are willing to follow this crazy journey I've been on is. It really does mean the world.
Absolutely. I mean, you say you're just you, but the thing is, to a lot of people, you're up here with especially with the painting and the tutorials and genuinely how approachable and nice you are to anyone and everyone who comes up to see you, which is super nice. But I will say this: when I went to a convention at London Comic Con at MCM. Having someone come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, it's you!" That I can kind of get how you feel with that, because I was kind of like, "Why? What? I'm what?" And you just realize that you are just you, but a lot of people see you in a different light, and I think that's pretty awesome. Thank you so much to Mayhem's Muse for the 350 bits. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So from me and my wonderful guest, Mr. Duncan Rhodes, I'd like to say thank you again to everyone who came to stream tonight, and I really hope that you enjoyed yourselves. We are not doing a raid tonight, but we will do a raid next stream. But for now, from myself and my wonderful mods, I'm just going to give them a little thanks in chat. There we go. For those of you who want to follow my moderators, Nate the Chill Valhallan and Ranger Creed Cosplay, their links are there. And I just want to say once again, thank you so much, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
The 4th Legion's number grows stronger.